Board of Education to order. If you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Welcome this evening. We start a meeting with any correspondence. Mr. Secretary.
Yes, Mr. President, we received a letter from the Evelyn Jackson, President of the Hazlitt Band Boosters and the Hazlitt Music Advocacy Committee.
And we're going to be hearing from them this evening. So any other correspondence?
That is it, sir.
All right. Comments from the public. Debbie. And if you would identify yourself and who you're representing.
My name is Evelyn Jackson, and good evening to everybody. I'm speaking to you tonight on behalf of the Hazlitt Music Advocacy Committee, which you just heard about the letter that we sent, also known as its acronym HMAC. The group was formed late last fall by a group of choir and band parents concerned about the budget crisis faced by our schools. Our goals are to advocate for music and the arts at both the local and state level. And what I'd like to do is quickly read the letter. It's 4 paragraphs, so it's on the record. We are writing on behalf of the Hazlitt Music Advocacy Committee concerning the 2009-2010 budget amendment, which is on the March 8th school board meeting agenda for approval. As a group, HMAC is concerned with a $15,000 music capital outlay reduction. We are particularly concerned with the apparent inequity to the curricular music program that this amended budget represents. This reduction in funding is a significant portion of the music program budget, yet we do not see evidence that the program budgets of other curricular areas have been similarly reduced. Before this proposed budget amendment is brought to a vote, HMAC requests clarification on the following. 1, the administration's purpose and reasoning in choosing this reduction in the music curriculum's program budget, and 2, why this burden will not be shared equitably with other curricular classes. Furthermore, we respectfully ask that you seriously reconsider this apparent inequity to the curricular music program and revise the proposed amendment appropriately. We all recognize that these are difficult times, and that we all must share the burden when reductions in our budgets are necessary. As a group, we reaffirm our desire to work together on these difficult and challenging budget reduction issues, both with equity and respect for all involved. We appreciate all the diligent and careful work that you and our administration have already put into these current challenges. And it's signed by myself as President of Hazlitt Band Boosters and by Julie Manson, President of Hazlitt Choir Boosters. And in conclusion, and this is now not the letter, in conclusion I would like to reaffirm our desire to work together on finding solutions to our budget issues. And we would like all of us to work on a solution that is equitable for everyone. And we do sincerely appreciate all the time that everybody's already put into this, and I know there's going to be a lot more time put into it too. So we appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks, Debbie, and thanks for the work you put in on behalf of choir boosters, or band boosters, and Julie on behalf of choir boosters. As you know, we don't. It's not our practice to engage at this moment, but we certainly going to take under advisement the issues that you've raised, and I think they'll come up a little bit later as we talk about the budget.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Any other comments from the public? All right, seeing none, our student representative is Lauren Izzo.
Okay. All right. At Wilkeshire, report cards are being sent home to students over the next week. Wilkshire's parent-teacher conferences will be held March 8th through March 19th, and Spring Picture Day is March 11th. The Scholastic Book Fair will run during the first week of conferences, March 8th to March 12th. Many calls are coming in to pre-register for Kindergarten Roundup, which will be held April 22nd and 23rd. The information for Kindergarten Roundup parents will be April 20th. Parents are asked to call in March to pre-register for Roundup. They may also pre-register online on the Wilkeshire webpage anytime in March. At Ralia, Art Night was a huge success. They enjoyed an evening of activities such as face casting, fish printing, clay and wire sculptures, face painting, henna tattoos, and more. This was a great evening for families with children of all ages to come and enjoy some art. Ralia is gearing up for the 18th Annual Science Fair. The classrooms will be filled with science presenters such as Star Dogs Planetarium, reptiles, birds, eye dissections, and more. The students will present their projects in the hallways for all to view. Ralia recently provided over 4,000 food items for the annual food drive. Good job. The salmon at Ralia are growing every day and doing very well. They will be released sometime in April. And today, Sparty came to read to the students. ASD students attended the Special Olympics last week and had a really nice time. Photos are on the website. Mr. Penn's third grade classroom is attending their big history lesson at the Michigan Historical Museum the entire next week. At the middle school, 8th graders recently went to the Career Center, and spring fever has resulted in an imminent student-staff basketball game. We'll see how that goes. At the high school, ACT and MME testing week is March 9th through 11th. All senior students are expected to job shadow this week on March 9th. Honors Night 2010 will be on March 18th. The keynote speaker this year is MSU quarterback Kirk Cousins. Parent-teacher conferences are March 22nd and March 24th, and the high school play is March 26th and 27th. And those are your announcements.
Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you.
All right, Lauren. I remember face casting. We have a couple face casts still around our house. All right, we're going to move on to superintendent's report. Mr. Duda.
Thank you, President Fowler. Speaking of parent budget forums, we're going to begin that process this week, and just to let the community know, we held 5 budget forums last week for each one of our buildings, where teachers, support staff, and administrators attended. So we had an opportunity to get around to every one of our buildings last week. We begin the budget forums tomorrow evening, March 9th, at 6:30 p.m. at Ralia. On Wednesday, we'll be at Hazlitt Middle School at 6:30. On Thursday, we'll be at Hazlitt High School at 7 p.m., and that's with the band and choir boosters. March 15th, we're going to meet with the athletic boosters, and that's a 7 o'clock meeting. March 18th, we're going to be here at the administration building, and we're going to be sending out letters to some of the subdivisions to talk about transportation. And then on April 21st and April 23rd at 7:30, myself and Steve Cook will be at Blondie's Barn. So we've got several forums set up. I would encourage the community to attend those. We anticipate that there's going to be a number of questions surrounding the survey, as well as some of the budget challenges that we have next year. So I would encourage all of you to attend. It'll be a great opportunity to ask questions that perhaps are on your mind, particularly after the survey. So we look forward to hosting those. I'd also like to congratulate the entire band, including Mr. Gott and all the students, on achieving straight ones this past weekend at their district band festival. So
Both bands.
Both bands. So congratulations to the entire band community. And that concludes my report this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Duda. We'll move on to we have one discussion item this evening. This is at the middle school, our response to intervention program, and Mr. Pridgeon, you're going to introduce Diane.
I am going to introduce Diana. Thank you for giving us our opportunity to talk about our pyramid response to intervention or RTI. And as every good, if you've ever read any good books on leadership and management, things like that, the captain's only as good as their crew. And I'm going to tell you what, our crew is coached and led by Diane Newman, and she has, if you haven't had much exposure to Diane, you're going to be very impressed with her. She has really taken on this RTI work with just great passion and energy, and we're very, very fortunate to have her working in this capacity with us. So I'm going to turn it over to Diane, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about RTI.
First
First of all, I want to thank the board for inviting us to come and share the exciting things happening at Haslett Middle School. Haslett Middle School has a fantastic student body, as many of you know, you have kids there. We have a great staff, administration, parents supporting us, community, administration over here is supporting us. But there was something missing. We had good test scores, but there's something missing. And last June, Andy Pridgeon and Mike Kane called me into their office and asked me if I would be willing to participate in an RTI initiative that the school was going to be undertaking this year. And at first, I had my arms folded. I'm like, yeah, another meeting to go to on a regular basis. I wasn't so sure. But as I continued to tell me what the RTI initiative was about, I began to think, you know what, that's that little piece that's missing at Haslett Middle School that would make us an even better school. So you might be wondering, what is this RTI initiative? What is RTI? And as Amy said, RTI, you can see up here, it's response to intervention. And it's the practice of, and I will paraphrase these, number one, providing high quality instruction and interventions. We as a staff are committed to knowing that the instruction and the intervention methods that we're using with students on a daily basis are research-based and they're the best quality instruction that we can provide for them. And we've been doing a lot of study this year to make sure that's happening. The second piece is using student learning rate over time. And all that is the same, we're going to use data. We're going to assess our students on an ongoing process and then go back and see if the interventions and instruction that we're using are actually working for our kids. Because what's the point of using it if it's not progressing students forward? Also, the data is telling us if we're leaving kids behind and who we need to go back, pick up, and bring alongside us to keep moving forward. Then the third thing is to make important educational decisions, the assessment and the interventions, and then continually, that's kind of a circular process. It will help us make educational decisions about our kids. So as you can see, RTI isn't like a package program you buy. It's not a device, a gimmick. You can't go to the teacher store and pick one up. It's a belief system, and it's really what we needed at Haslett Middle School to make us that next notch step higher. I attended the first week of school. I wasn't at Haslett Middle School. I attended a 4-day intensive coaches training. It's kind of like a huge pep assembly for all the coaches in the area. Every single district in our county has an RTI coach, secondary and/or in elementary. And I attended that training for 4 days, and then I came back, and I was able to talk to our staff about what RTI is. It's actually a 3 to 5 year initiative, but we're going to squeeze it into 2, and I have a feeling we can do our best and do it. Yeah. Well, and thanks to our administration here, they kept my focus very narrow to ensure success and ensure that this was going to happen in a positive and innovative way, and we have seen it happen, and they put the piece in motion so that it did happen. And I think in 2 years we can at least get a good chunk of it started. I'm going to do the next. So my first thing was to go back to the staff and tell them what RTI was. So I went back and I knew that I had to. It's another initiative, so I had to be kind of careful about how I introduced it to them. So I said, big events in history. Mankind invented fire, found fire, invented the wheel. Mona Kay was born, Andy Pridgeon was born, and then I had the next big event in history was that RTI was unleashed at Haslett Middle School. So that got a few chuckles, and because the first thing we had to ensure was consensus among our staff that they were going to buy into this. And as many of you know, in education we have all kinds of acronyms. RTI, IEP, FNO, and we had acronyms coming out everywhere. So I had to make sure that the staff understood that this just wasn't another flash in the pan initiative that we were going to do. That it was really a belief system, and it was a continuation of our Failures Not an Option initiative that we started a couple years ago. Quit reading that paper, Mr. Duda. I haven't read it. I don't know what's on there. Just look at that title. So when we went back to our staff, we made sure, again, that we talked to them about how Failures Not an Option and FNO were braided together. We're one into each other. Because we, again, didn't want the staff to think, okay, we did FNO, now we're done, now we're doing RTI. So it was important that we show them how the two were, again, married. Within FNO, there's 6 principles. So the Failures Not an Option team, we did a training as a visual of our 6 FNO principles. So we thought we'd take our training and add our RTI principles to our 6 FNO principles. And then down below here, these little stop signs and whatnot show what we've done to move forward in that principle. And one of our brilliant staff members, Pam Wilburn, drew this for us. So it's just a visual to show our staff, again, receive consensus, how the FNO and RTI do go together. We also formed a courageous leadership team to move forward our FNO principles. The first thing that we did after I got back was we had a training in AIMSWeb. AIMSWeb is a universal screener. It's a test. It's kind of like when you guys go to the doctor and you have a well visit. The doctor takes your pulse, your blood pressure, your height, your weight. It's kind of a screener to see if you're in generally good health. And if you're not, if you have low blood pressure or whatever, the doctor will do a deeper dive and diagnostic test to figure out what's wrong with you. Well, that's what we did with our 6th graders. We were trained so that we could do a screening of their reading and their math skills. And we were trained using the AIMSWeb universal screener. These right up here that you're looking at are the fluency probes. We give universal screeners 3 times a year, in the fall, winter, and spring. These are the 3rd grade screeners. You can see that the screeners are given the same ones in the fall, winter, and spring. And there's also MAZE, which is a comprehension. It's given in the fall, winter, and spring. The comprehension test is a 3-minute test that's given as a group. These are given individually to students, and they're a timed reading test. Again, this is a fluency test. So we found that these are like 80% accurate, and when we tested every single 6th grader in the fall, it was exactly dead on. We found when we put our students in this AIMSWeb program that it lists our kids right exactly as we expected or thought. We found a couple outliers, and we did a deeper dive to see why these kids were showing up either low or high, and we did triangulate the data to make sure that it was accurate, and we found pretty much it was. So we put together a team, we tested all our 6th graders, and then this is an example of an AIMSWeb test. None of these reports are for our school, so you won't see any of your kids' names on them. Good thing. This is called the rainbow report, and it breaks the kids down into colors, and the top color is green. Those are kids who are at low risk. You could push that down. It'll show the kids, it has a student's name. That's how many words per minute they're able to read. Then it shows their percent accuracy, it shows their risk, and then it shows their programming. And then as you move down from the green, this is the 50th percentile in the target, and then the next is the low risk, 25th percentile, and then some risk, and then high risk is below. So again, we found that this was very accurate in identifying our kids. After we gave the test, we put our kids into categories, kids that we were very concerned about, kids that we were a little bit concerned about. Then we put them into categories first on their fluency versus their comprehension skills. We went back and we put them into strategies classes, and we had an extra staff member at the time, so we had 4 teachers providing strategies classes to the 6th graders that we had identified as having instructional needs in the reading area. So we created these intervention classes, and it was cool. So we had the largest class size was a 1-on-6, which is, studies show that that's a very effective size. And we focused on the affect first, because by 6th grade, when these kids have been coming to school every day and struggling with reading and being asked to do something they don't do well all day long, their affect or their positive behavior towards reading is pretty low. So that was one of the first things. We wanted them to enter into the classroom feeling like this is a safe zone, and that these people love reading, and I can experiment, and I can try, and I can make failures and successes, and feel pretty positive about myself in this program. This right here is a progress monitoring report. If you go back to the definition of RTI, it's providing quality-based intervention. We used 6-minute solutions, which is a fluency program. We used rewards, which is a multisyllabic word program. We used read naturally, and then we went over to our elementary schools and we borrowed some books from them so that kids were reading on their independent or instructional level. And then every week we progress monitored to make sure that kids were showing progress. And you can see in the students, just happens to be a 6th grader, again, not from our school, but we set a target for each of our students, which is that star up in the top. And then the red dots are every week, 2-1, 2-8, 2-15. We progress monitored. We gave them a fluency test. This is the RCBM. You can see the words read correct on the side. And we set that target. And by May, again, this isn't one of our students, but by May, we wanted to see that aim lead going up. You can see where it says 6-minute solution, that student kind of flatlined. So we said, okay, this intervention isn't working. We need to try something different. So we introduced a new solution. And you can see the aim line kind of goes up, but not enough. So we introduced another intervention, and then we see that the aim line is going up. So that's, again, going back to RTI, using data to make sure that the student's moving forward, and then using research-based interventions. This is another report that Ainsworth gives us, and this is, again, the RCBM, which is the fluency. And as I told you before, we're going to do 3 benchmarks throughout the year. We have done all our 6th graders so far. We have a fall for all our 6th graders, and we have a winter. And you can see that this student, this is called a box and whiskers plot. And that heavy black line in the middle is 50th percentile. That's where we want, that's average. The bottom of that green box with the first blue dot is in the fall. That's the 25th percentile mark. And at that point, the student, I probably, with this student, might have triangulated their data to see what they were doing in other classes or what their teachers thought about their performance. But for this particular student, I might have left them alone to see what their winter benchmark would have looked like. Any student on the orange line is between 10 and 25th percentile. We have students falling below the orange line, so we have them falling below 10 percentile. The blue line is 75th and above. So as you can see with this student, they're making adequate progress. Again, their aim line is moving up by the spring. We have this data in every single 6th grader in our school for RCBM, and we will again for the maze, which is the comprehension. So it's really cool stuff. We've been able to use it with some, yeah. It's so cool, but that one's good. This is another way that you can look at Ames Web, and if you see over there those triangles, and then there's the rainbow part, those are all the reports you can generate with this program. So we can do some pretty cool things with it. So the 7th grade teachers were like, and 8th grade teachers were like, oh, well, that's kind of cool stuff. We want some of that too. So we started narrow with our 6th graders, but I had the 7th and 8th grade staff coming to me saying, okay, we want some of that data for our kids too. We want to know. The 8th grade science teacher came in to me, and he's like, so like, I want to know if these kids are able to read or not, because he was struggling with them in the classroom. So we had actually done the maze for all 8th graders, and I was able to pull out the data. I'd also met with the 8th grade language arts teachers, and we formed a hot list of kids we were concerned about with their fluency. So because the fluency is a more difficult test, or I should say time-consuming test to administer, we'd done the maze, we came up with our hot list, and then we did a fluency test for an identified group of kids. So that teacher came in, and he's like, I want to see these kids' scores. Two of the 3 were able to read fine. They were just being slugs in his classroom, so he was able to light a little fire under them, and they did fine. The 3rd one actually did have some reading issues, and we were able to then meet the needs of that student so he could be successful in the classroom. So it was real telling, some of the data that we got, and the staff were really excited to get it. And all 7th graders now have been given the maze, so we have 2 data points on our 7th graders and 1 on our 8th grade for the maze. And a kind of select group of students have the RCBM as well. We've also started intervention classes for our 7th grade and our 8th grade. The 8th grade teachers have formed a book club for the kids. They come in during 4th hour, their explore class, and they have a little book club. We have some MSU graduate students coming in to work with our kids. They have some experience in the RTI work and intervention classes, so wherever we can get bodies to help, we'll grab them. Just a second. This one, if this slide is our pyramid slide, in the RTI model, we look at 3 tiers. The bottom tier is the green one, and that you want, the ideal is 80% of your population, or 80. In this case, we want it to be 80. You can see it went from 63 to 73 to 78, so this school is making good progress toward that 80%. The yellow is tier 2. You want roughly 15% of your students in that tier. They need more assistance, maybe some intervention strategies, whatnot. That would be our strategic monitoring kids. And then the top tier, roughly 5% of our kids would fall into that category. And those are the kids where we're going to do a tier 3 intervention, which is more pull-out and more progress monitoring strategic as well. This is just, again, one of the models that our Ainsworth program can show us.
And you know what ours were off the top of your head?
Yes. Our 6th grade, the RCBM was already high. Ours, shoot, I can show you. We had, it was 78, and then we went up to 83 in the winter, and we haven't done the spring. So we were at where we should be. Yeah.
What was the top of the address?
I'd have to get those numbers to you. It wasn't a concern for us. I mean, we were where we were thinking. But what was positive was that we showed growth from whatever intervention. We have graduated a 1/3 of our kids out of the intervention classes when we started in last September. Where we progress monitored all along. We get kids up to grade level, we graduate them out. We send them this woohoo letter, you graduated, and they're on their way out. So it's been incredibly successful. That one-on-one, when you can sit with those kids and hear them read and identify where their weaknesses, give them some strategies. We're all about strategies. We're constantly, try this, are you visualizing, are you thinking, are you making connections? And it's really helped a large group of our kids. The bottom is really cool. I didn't explain this, but it shows our at-risk kids at the top. And then if you see that there's 16% 3 kids, you can see that 2 of them moved over to the winter number. See that? I don't know if you can tell. It's right here. If you look, right here, at-risk. 3 kids were in the fall. 2 of them moved over and they were there in the winter. 1 of them moved down to the summers, which is tier 2. And you want to see that kind of movement. We had 4 here. We didn't. Sorry, this is, I don't know, school, Washington School. 4 here, and then 3 moved over. I'm sorry, 2 moved over, and 2 moved down, which is really good. And then you can see from winter to spring, 2 moved over, 2 moved over, 1 moved down, which again is what the kind of movement you want to see. But we do have these reports on our kids, and they've been positive. These are the 4 tests that we're going to give every single kid next school year, because we do also do the math, fluency, computation, and concepts and application. So every single student in our school will have the reading, fluency, comprehension, math, computation, and math, concepts and application tests done, all 3 benchmarks next year. So we'll have those types of reports for our kids. The other pieces we've done, I'm sorry. But that was the testing piece that we hope to start this year. The other piece was the staff development. We wanted to get in and equip our staff with some quality-based instructional practices. We talked a lot about effect size. Like, why would you go in and teach a bunch of kids that only reach 50% of your class when you could use this strategy and reach 80% of your class? So we talked a lot about different quality instructional methods with our staff. We did a book study earlier in the year. We've talked a lot about to content teachers that, yes, you are also a reading teacher. You didn't know it, but you are. You have to teach your kids how to decipher their way through that textbook. Provide them with some cheats, with some tools, strategies to get their way through that textbook. And a lot of teachers are like, ooh, I don't know exactly. So we've been providing them with some strategies and ways to do that. Teachers are excited about this testing. I every day have teachers in my office asking me, can I have some of this? Show me how you did this. A teacher today was asking me, well, can I teach one of those classes? And I'm like, yeah. So we're going to set him up. He's a resource teacher. We're going to set him up with a group of kids so that he can be providing the same things. We have a really talented staff, and they've been really receptive to what we're doing, and like sponges as far as giving them these strategies and showing them what works and what doesn't work. Next year, we'll be focusing on our literacy team, and again, content literacy. We have PD days. We're also training in the SIM, which again is a research-based instructional strategy. And we're doing book release this month for Reading Month. We've had float sales and raise money to buy books. So we're doing a mentoring program. Mr. Pridgeon has some kids, Ms. Woodhams has some kids. All the staff, most of the staff are students that we're going to be reading with during Reading Month. So thank you. If you have any questions, we'd be glad to answer.
How can you join this new position?
Amy asked me yesterday, I missed what I was doing, and I'm like, no. I love this position. I'm passionate about reading, and again, I really felt this was just that missing link at the middle school that we can now, look at our whole student body and we can say, here's their needs, let's go meet those needs. And so as a staff, we're working together doing that. So this is powerful stuff. It's really exciting. And I think and the collaboration with other schools has been tremendous. We have whole Okemos, people are coming over and we're going to visit them, so it's been tremendous, the support. And the whole countywide initiative has been pretty good.
Our middle school is hosting a lot of visitors right now. We want a piece of Diane's time to kind of learn what we're doing over there. So a little bit about the value that the teachers put on the study that's generated. We have two 8th grade teachers, John Kimball and Jeremy Newcomb, that they did some fluency and comprehension testing with some of their students with the Ames Web, and they are giving up one of their prep periods each week to pull kids in on their time to do the work that Diane has put in place right here that she's teaching us to use. So it's really powerful stuff, and the teachers are very, very committed, very, very driven to have these kids succeed.
It seems like one of the most cool aspects of this is that it's always in motion, and that if I'm a 7th grade science teacher and one of my students is getting this help, then it's not that I have to wait until something changes to get him or her, moving better in science. It's that the next day I might see improvement, and the next day, and that it must compound itself in a positive way, through all of those.
And we've really been deliberate about generalizing with the students, like what you're learning in here, take into your science class, take into your social studies class, and as a science and social studies teacher, you can say, well, what are you using? Look at those skills, and as a staff, we're trying to come up with some school-wide policies that, we just attended a training for linking vocabulary strategy, and we'd like to introduce that to the staff, so the social studies teacher can say, use the same strategy as the science teachers, and that, so kids they can focus on the process in each class. They're not worried about the task. Like in this class, we do it this way, and in this class, we do it this way. So for our struggling students, they're totally focused on the content and the process of what's going on.
Well, if I recall, too, when we were at different times, we talked to the teachers of Meridian High School and students of Meridian High School, one of the big things to hear was that it was the reading difficulties that were holding back in all these other areas where maybe students had natural abilities and from which they could be gleaning a lot of good self-esteem and positive whatever that they weren't. And so to do this at those ages.
It's powerful, the statistic, when kids are struggling with reading their self-esteem, their self-worth, their self-value, and even in the middle school when they come in, and again, they've been doing something all day long that they don't do well. It'd be like me reading a French book all day long, trying to decipher my way through the content. I couldn't do it, and we're asking kids to do that. So we're trying to equip them. And these programs that we're using, they're showing amazing results with some of these kids. And that 1-on-1 or that 1-on-6, whatever the ratio is, it's just opening up a new world for them.
So in an ideal world, I don't know if you're the right person or maybe Sharon has to ask, how do we see this whole thing working from kindergarten with what we're doing with Dibbles and stuff too, even at the high school where they're doing credit recovery and education 2020? I mean, I can see that this is all, becoming pieces of a bigger pie. Is there, how are they connecting these different?
Well, I keep joking with Patty Mashik, who's the elementary RTI coach, and she keeps going back to the Wiltshire, like, fix them before they get to me, and I can fix them before they, because we do not have deliberate ways to assess and then strategies to put in place for these kids. So we're hoping we pick them up sooner, and we're hoping we catch them at Wiltshire, and then those that we get into the elementary that we need to work on, we hope we catch them. So we have fewer and fewer coming up to us by the middle level, but we will have them. I mean, there's some kids that we always need to, kids, we have a student moved in this year who's 8th grader reading at a 3rd grade level. So he's at a 5th grade level right now, so we've been able to bump him right up. And so, we'll always be working on that, but it is a huge piece of kind of we're all working together to help these kids be successful earlier on. Because for every year they're behind in middle school, it's 30 minutes, like if they're 6th grade reading at a 3rd grade, you're supposed to add 30 minutes more of instruction per day to get them up to grade level. It's that gap just keeps growing. It's little when they're younger, but it's incredible, that line and the amount of time that's needed to shorten that gap. So we're hoping that, as we get this program going, there'll be less and less kids coming up to us.
What do you think you need to sustain this beyond what you're doing to get set up now?
Well, that's the age-old question. I don't know.
That is a challenge because we are funding Diane with our money, and that money will be gone after next year. You do know that we've had the Dibbles assessment program in place at Wiltshire. This is year 4, and that has made a significant difference there. And we are in year 3 at our 2 5 buildings and year 1 now at the middle school. So we are beginning to have a district-wide program. Of course, we have some credit recovery going on at the high school. The whole idea, of course, is to have fewer and fewer at-risk kids as we move along, and then we won't need as much resource. My hope, I guess, is that we would have less students identified in special education, and maybe we'd be able to use some of the resources we put into special education into RTI. But the proof is in the pudding, and you'll always have students moving into the district, and you'll always have a need. We also, I think you can tell by Diane's enthusiasm, you need someone to help coordinate and to be in touch all the time with classroom teachers and to assist them and help with those challenges every day. And so, though the ISD tells us we've got 2 years to make a program sustainable, without a person who is dedicated to doing that, it becomes very difficult. And we have RTI coaches at all of our buildings, except the high school, and we're talking now about how that might look at the high school. An RTI program at the high school does look different than it does in the elementary. So we have a district RTI team that is going to meet 4 times this year, and where we are K-12 talking about common issues. And we have a lot of them right now, and trying to communicate with each other and find out what we're doing at each level and how we can sustain and continue that program continuously. So it's very exciting. It's the age of accountability, but it's truly you're accountable for every child and every child's success, and asking those questions every day. What is it that I could do to help this child be more successful at school? And like Diane says, they're graduating kids, so to speak, out of remedial reading.
Well, the data is so powerful. When you see, before I always knew students weren't reading at grade level, I didn't know quite always where they were at, or I had a ballpark pick figure. I know right where they are now. And how do you? It's criminal to move forward without that student, under your arm, and you're taking them along, teaching them as you go, because you know right where they are and what they need. So that's what the data has given us, and it's powerful.
Well, there are really, 4 kinds of assessments. There's the outcome data that we have with the MEP and all those kinds of things that says we're really doing well. But then you have the universal screening data that we use with Ames Weber Dibbles, and that sort of, you screen everybody, and then these kids who are struggling pop right out. This one, and this one, and this one, and this one. And then you take a look at doing some diagnostic to find out what could I specifically do to help those children with the things that they're struggling with. Because we could all score the same and all be at risk for 3 different reasons or 4 different reasons. And then to actually put in an intervention, like Diane says, a research-based intervention, put in an intervention, and 3 weeks later monitor and see if it's worked. If it hasn't worked, we need to throw that away and try something else. And that's the beauty, where when she showed you the one graph, where you try a couple of things and the student is not making progress, and then boom, you try something, and all of a sudden the graph goes up, and you know it's working. So it's very cool. It's very tedious and time-consuming.
A lot of bookwork.
A lot of bookwork and a lot of data collection, but well worth it, I think.
Have questions?
I didn't have a question, but I just have to say, wonderful that you said yes to run this program. Because I'm just, the success, what marvelous program it is, but to put the right person to fit into that, I would imagine your student response is terrific, and with your colleagues.
Because you have good relationships with the colleagues, too, so.
But we have a good staff to work with.
You do?
Yes.
Well, the beauty of Diana is that she's a very successful teacher and has been for years. And the other, when she said, well, gosh, I don't know, we said, what do you mean you don't know? The other piece of
My
that.
caseload, kind of like doing with my kids.
The other piece of that is to put in a successful response intervention program, you really have to have relationships with the whole middle school staff. And so having her, who has already built those positive relationships and is respected, it makes that whole initiative work. Then you have a stranger back in and say, oh, guess what? We're going to do these things. So that's made a huge difference.
And I just like to comment on Chris's question about sustainability because, at the end of the day, this really is the core foundational purpose and mission of what we do as educators, and that's moving these kids along so that they can reach their potential. We all know there's shrinking pools of resources and things, but I would tell you that finding a way to sustain this type of a program, this type of work is really at the core of what our purpose and mission should be as a school and a school district, school system. So I would hope that would be something that is valued.
We kind of focus on individual average students. Sometimes the data tells us that there's something wrong with our curriculum. We have a situation right now in Wilkshire where the data said to us, it seems like most of our kindergarten children aren't doing well in this particular area. What can we do about that? Well, we changed the curriculum in kindergarten to meet that need. It's not always that we have to put children out or pull small groups of children out. Sometimes we need to make a curricular change, and the data will also help us with those decisions.
Terrific. Thanks. Thank you. Diane, thanks for your passion, enthusiasm, and
Well, I have lots of stories. If you're more than listen, then you would be equally as passionate.
your assistant did a really good job, too.
You would think that this would be for the top dollars, that would be.
Yeah.
We can send it down.
I have to say, and I think it came out, but the thing I'm maybe most pleased about, this is federal stimulus dollars.
This is reform at its finest.
Right. And, we didn't do what I think some other institutions did, which was just solve the budget problem with them, hoping that budget problem would go away the next year. We put it to work, and we learned something. And I love what you just said about, now we've got to make it a priority to find a way to keep it going. But I think that was just a terrific expenditure. Dollars we knew we weren't going to have around forever, but we put them used to learn something with them. So congratulations, the students benefit.
Diane, you were shovel ready.
Reluctant, but shovel ready. All right, we're going to move along to board reports. First, the Finance Facilities Committee.
We have not met.
All right. And the Policy and Personnel Committee.
Rob, we have not met either. I do think we have the revised in, no, that's a different, in the action item. So I do need to read this, I think, again, the 5350. I'm happy to read the entire thing. If you'd like me to do that, or I can just actually read the portion of the policy that we changed from the last meeting when I read it the first time, so your preference.
Well, it's short enough, and we've got an audience. Why don't
Okay.
you? Let's see what your reading comprehension is like.
5350, drug-free workplace. The Board of Education prohibits the use, possession, concealment, manufacture, or distribution of illegal drugs by employees in the district workplace. Workplace is defined as any district building, on any district grounds, and in any district vehicle at any time and at any other location where there are one or more activities that are school-sponsored or school-related while those activities are being conducted, including but not limited to field trips, away athletic contests, or camps. Illegal drugs are defined as drugs or substances that are not legally obtainable, drugs or substances that are not being used in a manner different than prescribed, drugs or substances that are legally obtainable that have not been legally obtained. As a condition of employment, each employee shall abide by the terms of this policy, notify the superintendent or designee in writing of his or her charge or arraignment under any criminal drug statute or ordinance no later than 3 days after such charge or arraignment. District action upon violation of policy. An employee who violates this policy may be subject to disciplinary action, including termination. Alternatively, an employee may be required to successfully complete an appropriate substance abuse employee assistance rehabilitation program.
I rate her A+ on reading comprehension.
I tell you what, it's getting to the point where somebody's got to hold it back a little bit for me.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. That's
Okay,
it.
that's first reading, no action required, but that'll be on our next board agenda then. Is that all from?
Yes, thank you so much.
Items from board members.
I actually have two that I'd like to report on. The first is, I did attend the virtual field trip on Romeo and Juliet, and there were a couple board members whose students were participating in that class, and I know that we've each received an email with information regarding that. I just wanted to indicate, I really enjoyed the experience, and I think it was dealing with the language in Romeo and Juliet, and it was just a new medium to bring that to these kids, to teach them. And it had the kids up in the classroom, they had to be interacting with each other, they learned how to curtsy and bow, which was rather interesting to watch them do. They had to learn how to do insults. They did quite well at that, actually. But I thought I think money well spent to be doing this video conferencing. It was very good. The other thing I'd like to report on, the Ingham School Officers Association had our meeting last week. We had an update from David Martell, who talked about school funding for 2010-2011. David is the executive director of the Michigan School Business Officials Association, was the former finance director here at Hazlitt Schools. I have a rather large presentation that he did. I found it very interesting. I think the more that we can keep reiterating where we are with school finance, it really helps for an understanding of it. And also we had Don Wachruba, who was there from the Michigan Association of School Boards. He gave us an update on the evaluation process of teachers and the role of the school board involved in that.
From Race to the Top.
From Race to the Top, right. And that was, our meeting was the day prior to the results of Race to the Top coming out, so second phase we're looking at. Then I did want to reiterate the legislative breakfast has now grown to a 7-county legislative breakfast, and that is this Friday morning at the Radisson, starting at 7:30 to 9 o'clock. Also, there is a consolidation of services meeting that is out. It's on March 24, 7 to 8:30 out at the ISD, and that's the public sector consultants' report on their consolidation of services. So that's it. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Other items from the board? I want to try to encourage us, and I'm going to try to coordinate this as we sit here, but it seems to me that it would be really good if we can to try to have a presence at these community forums on budget. And in particular, obviously, Mike and Steve are going to be at each of them, but that we as board members should try our best. I'm certainly going to try to be at because I knew I was going to say this, look at my calendar, I know I can go to the March 11th and 15th and the April 23rd breakfast. And again, I guess my encouragement, if you agree, let's see if we can't get them all covered as a board. And maybe that's enough said, just try to do our best to try to be there. I think it's obviously the topic of the day and the year maybe, so, the decade. Anything else from the board before we move along? All right, we have an action agenda this evening with 7 items. Let's begin with anything that anybody wants to pull off the consent agenda.
I'd like to move the proposed budget amendment.
Proposed budget amendment, item 5. Anything else?
I believe that number 2 needs to be pulled, so it can be removed from the table.
Point?
I ask that item 2, please be removed from
Okay.
consent agenda.
So right now, item 2 and 5 have been pulled. Anything else? All right, motion to approve the remaining items.
Well, we can't unless we do 2 to act on.
We'll handle it separately. We'll just take out separate items. We'll pull it and we'll approve as separate.
Yeah, 3 and 4, I guess I'll ask that 3 and 4 by vote as well.
No, we have to word that back to that.
Yep, gotcha, yep. All right, we pretty much got 3 items left. Anything else?
Let's keep going. I'm sure we can get those ones too.
Okay, motion to approve items 1, 6, and 7.
I move we provide 1, 6, 7. Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none. I am. That's what I'm about to do. Item 1 is approval of the minutes of the February 22nd, 2010 regular board meeting. Item 6 is approval of the revised board policy 5345 on staff tobacco and alcohol use. 7 is an out-of-state field trip request for 8th grade students to Cedar Point. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, let's take up item 2. Motion to remove from the table.
Yes, well, I'm so moved.
I'll support.
So the motion is to remove from the table approval of the minutes of the February 19th Finance and Facilities Committee meeting and the approval of the minutes of the February 19th Policy and Personnel Committee meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Let's take these one at a time. Let's take them together. Motion.
I move to approve the minutes which were formerly action items 3 and 4.
Second.
Motion and a second. The action items are approval of the minutes of the February 19th, 2010 Finance and Facilities Committee, approval of the minutes of the February 19th Policy and Personnel Committee. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. That is our business for this evening.
Still have number
Oh, yeah,
5.
yeah, I'm sorry.
I ask that we pull the budget to just reiterate and clarify that this budget amendment as it appears in our packet and was presented to us last meeting doesn't include any additional cuts other than those that we've planned on and been carrying out all school year. And that's what we're actually just going through the process of approving with this budget amendment tonight.
Okay, let me also just add, and because it was raised in the letter as well, that as we look at capital outlay, that's been sort of across the board, cuts in capital outlay from textbooks to, remember, capital is stuff. This isn't operating, it's not teachers, it's not ongoing budget, it's buying capital equipment or like buses, a place where we've cut back in capital. So custodial and maintenance have seen a $14,000 cut, transportation $120, technology $85,000, finance $20,000, textbooks $60,000, music $20,000 over a period of time. So I guess I just say that to say there has been a sort of across the board look at places where we can save in capital budget over the last year. It's kind of been pretty much the way we've been operating, that we're going to spend those dollars, and this budget I think kind of codifies that. So
Just one clarification. Throughout this process, I think it's much more appropriate, and this might be semantics, to use the word reduction. Because cut can be utilized to imply that a program has completely been eliminated, not just possibly reduced in funding. And I think we need to be very careful with our terminology concerning these things because it's a very sensitive issue for all involved.
all right, with that clarification, a motion to approve the 2009-10 proposed budget amendments.
I move we approve the 2009 budget amendment. I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. That concludes our action items for this evening. Next board meeting is March 22nd here in the boardroom. Motion to adjourn.
Oh, no, we gotta go to closed session.
Well, we're going to go into closed session, but we first will adjourn this meeting.
No, we have to go to closed session. Right.
I understand we have requests from superintendent. Do you have closed session? You do. I would move that we close session and discuss.
Thank God for Don Frank. That's all I can say.
Second.
Take roll call.
Well, first, then it's a second, now we take a roll call.
Okay, Don, you made a motion that we go into closed session at the request of Superintendent Duda. Is there a second?
Yes.
And this is a roll call vote.
Mr. Fowler?
Aye.
Mrs. Belton?
Yes.
Mr. Brady?
Yes.
Ms. Hoey? Yes. Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Yes.
A 2-minute break at most.
2-minute break.